Policing modern-day Britain is a hard and unpredictable job. Road Wars follows 3 elite units from Devon and Cornwall that take up that challenge every day. The Road Crime Unit have one mission.
Face down on the floor.
To take criminals off the roads. The Dog Section are 6 German Shepherds and their handlers that are never far from the action.
There's a bag there, then.
And the Tactical Aid Group, TAG, are who you call when houses need raiding or violent offenders need arresting. Combined with the most amazing clips from around the world, tonight, Road Wars brings you the reality of crime on the front line.
All right, get down on the floor, now!
Coming up, a 70 miles an hour stop on the A30.
Stop! Put your hands up on the wheel!
A shootout with a truck. And a hit and run.
We know where it's registered to, so I'm going to go straight there.
Anything can happen policing the streets, and in Road Wars, the unexpected is always just around the corner. Devon and Cornwall's tag teams are the experts in getting inside fast. C-Section is an 8-strong team working out of a specially designed riot van based in Ashburton. Today, they're donning their protective kit for a drugs raid, with a difference. Officer Simon Boubier will try to talk his way into the suspect's property in a clever disguise.
We're off to do a drugs warrant now at an address in Thames, block of flats, for a hydroponics setup. The door itself is quite a reinforced door. It's going to be quite a hard door to actually open. There's a young lad who lives there with his 4-year-old daughter. So we're going for another tactic today where hopefully by a postman's knock, gentlemen will open the door and gain access there without damaging anything, without upsetting children at the address. It's just a different tactic we use, and if the knock fails, then we'll have our method of entry team ready to bosh the door down.
So Simon hopes his postman ruse will get the door open. But the only thing he'll be delivering is the rest of the tag team. The team have to be careful. It's a heavy-duty drugs raid, and they could be spotted at any moment. Quietly sneaking up the stairs, they've only got a few seconds to get into position. Acting natural is vital for Simon. If the suspect inside susses he's a fake, the team will have to go in the hard way.
Hello, mate, post. Got something for you to find, mate.
Give me your hand. Give me your hand. Give me your hand.
I've got your hand, mate. Come on. Can you let me get dressed, please? No.
Any drugs here?
Yeah, I have.
You have?
Yeah.
Okay. Whereabouts?
It's literally what I'm growing in there and my personal cannabis, that's it.
Anything else?
That's it. I know I'm growing a bit of cannabis, but I've got kids. I don't like dealing with fucking street dealers, and that's the only reason I'm doing it at the end of the day.
Fortunately, the suspect's children aren't in the flat. But his cannabis cultivation is. And it doesn't take the team long to find it. This isn't a makeshift wardrobe, but a hydroponics tent. It's used for growing crops at home. Just add lights, fans, water, and of course, cannabis seeds. And there's more cannabis in the sideboard. The flat isn't exactly Kew Gardens, but the plants are still illegal, and it's keeping Officer Johnny Weymouth busy.
We are slowly but surely going to dismantle this and then seize the plants from within and everything that he uses to grow his cannabis. Likewise in here will have to be seized and destroyed eventually after he's convicted.
They're only little at the moment, but once fully grown, each plant can net a dealer £320 every time they flower. For evidence, everything related to drugs has to be seized. And it's time for some undo-it-yourself. But their kits seen better days.
I think he's a bit sad that this one's going. I think he's been growing it for a couple of years, so
sentimental value.
Yes.
Dan, Dave.
Hello.
The whole flat is cleansed of the cannabis farm.
What is this? Who done all this?
All of this will be destroyed.
One here.
The lad is taken off to custody. For Johnny, it's been a flawless operation.
The intel was correct. He had the setup. So we're quite happy that we've got probably about 15 plants in total, ranging from 2 inches up to the main plant. He's been arrested. He's going to be interviewed now at Torquay. So we'll just go back and that'll be it. Job done. Fact.
Got something for you to sign, mate.
For Tag, the postman disguise worked to treat, and the drugs inside were a first-class result. Daniel Corbyn later pleaded guilty to the production and possession of cannabis. He was given a community order of 160 hours unpaid work and made to pay court costs of £60. Still to come on Road Wars, motorway madness, dinner-time disaster,
So I'm going to be up front with you. There's a vehicle outside, crashed into a lamppost, and then drove off in this direction.
and a shocking stateside shootout. Coming up on Road Wars, a careering car criminal,
On the corner, he's going across grass, he lost it on the corner.
a diesel dilemma,
I don't know what on earth that is.
Yeah, I'm not happy with that.
and a handbrake horror. Dog handler Daryl Drew and his German Shepherd Murphy are the newest members of Exeter's dog section. They're on the night shift when they're called to help track down a hit-and-run motorist.
We've had a report of a one-vehicle road traffic collision where a car has crashed into a lamppost. Only being one vehicle, there's a possibility that the only reason he's crashed is because he's probably had a few bevies.
On top of the lamppost, witnesses have also seen the driver hit a parked car. Daryl has no idea if the potential drink driver is still in the area.
Just in case, on the off chance he has done a runner, at least we can be close by, see what we can do. Probably it back there.
The driver's gone, but the damage is clear, and so are the witnesses.
Do you know what sort of car it is?
Red Corsa.
Yeah, 8-4. We're looking for a red Corsa, gone off towards Kinnerton Way.
He's got damage at the front. Came here. You hit that, mate.
One of the witnesses noted the registration of the disappearing Corsa. Radio checks come straight back with the owner's address.
A red Vauxhall Corsa. I'm going to go straight off to Exeter and see if I can locate it.
I mean, he nearly hit this post up here. He went off.
OK, we know where it's registered to, so I'm going to go straight there.
Speed is of the essence. If the culprit has been drinking, Daryl needs to get evidence.
We're looking for a Corsa now that's crashed into another car and driven off. We're just looking for the vehicle, and there it is. Yeah, 8-4. The vehicle is parked up.
Daryl knows he's in the right place, but is this all down to alcohol?
This is the offending vehicle, yeah, that's stoved into a lamppost and the other car.
A local unit arrives to help Daryl at the owner's address, and there's evidence that somebody has recently arrived home.
Still got footprints straight to the door. Hey? Someone's coming. Hello, fella.
You all right?
Yeah, you? Who's just come back to the house here? Is it yourself?
Sorry?
Have you just come back here?
Yes.
Who owns the red Corsa?
My girlfriend.
Your girlfriend? Have you been driving it this evening?
No.
You haven't. Can we come in?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
The lad says he's just come back home, but hasn't been behind the wheel. Daryl digs a little deeper.
How long have you been here, fella?
Well, pretty much all night.
With beer cans next to him, the man is now saying he's actually been in all night.
Have you just come back here?
Yes.
Something's affecting his memory.
How long have you been here, fella?
Well, pretty much all night.
It all doesn't quite add up, so Daryl spells it out to him.
Have you? All right. What we're going to do is I'm going to be up front with you, there's a vehicle outside which is registered to this address that's had a road traffic collision down the road. A male was seen driving it, crashed into a lamppost, and then drove off in this direction. The vehicle's here, you're here, so we're just going to try and work out what we've got now, OK? I reckon you've had a couple of beers, haven't you, this evening?
Yeah, I've had a couple.
OK. As soon as we know what's actually happened, then we can let you know as well, all right?
The lad casually gets back to his food and seems strangely unconcerned his house is full of police, asking him about a serious road crash.
Stop eating just for a second while we try and sort this out, mate, because I'll be honest with you, I think you were the driver. All right? So I'm going to try and find this out now, and then we'll come back to you and let you know what the score is, all right?
The lad isn't even denying Daryl's claim. Another officer goes and talks to his girlfriend in one of the bedrooms. It seems her story is somewhat different.
Okay. She states that she hasn't been driving it, and the description we've been given is similar of that to you.
Everything is pointing at this lad. It looks like he crashed his girlfriend's car. But is he over the limit? A breathalyser could hold the answer.
Yeah.
I'll explain to the girl.
Come out with me, and we'll go down to the car and get the breath box.
Don't run, mate, 'cause I've got a dog in the car. We're just going to take him down for our car.
All right.
Daryl has a closer look at the Corsa and is convinced they have the right car.
Yeah, the tyres are wet and warm, and you can feel the warmth of the engine as well.
Yeah.
So I'm happy it's been driven quite recently.
The evidence is stacking up against the lad. In an attempt to hide his tracks, he's picked up a damaged bumper.
If that's part of the back bumper assembly and that's part of the rear wing, he stopped to pick them up. The witnesses say that somebody got out of the scene.
Yeah, someone said that they actually got out of the scene.
Judging by the result of the breathalyser, the lad's in a worse condition than the car.
He's just blown 138.
And 35 being the...
The legal limit is 35, yeah. So he's well over the limit.
He's clearly drunk, so he's coming in. But things aren't over yet. It seems the man's left a rather large clue to his guilt in the back of the car.
They've got a red bumper at the scene. Yeah. Oh, did he? Excellent. And the wet footprint, so I think we're all pretty well sorted.
In an attempt to clear up any evidence, the lad picked up the bumper of the car he hit and left behind his.
We'll do a breath test procedure back at the police station and then interview him in the morning and find out what he's actually got to say about it.
Back at the Nick, Dwayne Nichols' reading dropped to 49 on the intoxicator. He then gave a urine sample which also showed he was over the limit. Nichols was disqualified from driving for 12 months, given a community order of 180 hours unpaid work and ordered to pay £300 in compensation. Police don't always need a trail of destruction to lead them towards lawbreakers. In the North Midlands, a Land Rover has been stolen, but unbeknown to the thief, the owner fitted a tracking device to it, which police can trace remotely.
Possibly located this vehicle, might be on false plates, and it's moving.
As soon as the car was nicked, the owner called the tracking company who activated the device. It now shows up as a flashing dot on the police chopper's screen, and the signal has led them straight to this 4x4.
He's doing a right, away from Stapleford.
Even though the vehicle matches the description, the number plates are different. But the chopper observer is convinced they have the right Land Rover.
From 8A, I'm very confident this is the vehicle. The tracker is constantly pointing off to the right now of the vehicle, and we've done an orbit of it. It's constantly at this vehicle.
The chopper crew start guiding in ground units when the driver suddenly floors it.
From 8A, he's wrong side the bollards in Puddington. It's a right at the junction onto Main Street.
But the driver's skills aren't up to much.
He's lost it on the corner, he's going across grass, he lost it on the corner, it's a left at the top, and he's left onto Main Street.
Zulu 45, the blue lights, maintaining.
The thief is on the wrong side of the road, rapidly losing control of his vehicle.
From 880, he nearly lost it. He's on the wrong side of the road on the right-hand bend, he's back on the correct side of the road.
He attempts to take this left, but quickly realises he's going far too fast and heads back onto the grass.
It's still straight on.
A ground unit is now right behind him, and the thief realises getting away is going to be impossible.
He's slowing, he's stopping on the right-hand side of the road on the entrance to the showground.
The driver's time is up. Pulling over, he's immediately surrounded.
This suspect has given himself up, repeat, given himself up, and he's getting out of the vehicle.
With the thief safely in custody, the pilot decides to retrace their steps. The chopper heads back to the barn, where plainclothes officers are already searching the area. And they found more stolen vehicles.
Stolen 22nd of the 9th from the driveway of an address in Nottingham.
The thief has been very busy, as another dodgy car is discovered.
Yes, thanks for that. We've got further vehicles in here. Just stand by for registration numbers.
I've got a stolen on that one, stolen from me, 17 Sleaford.
The police find a second Land Rover and a motorway maintenance van, making a total of 3 vehicles this thief has stolen. The tracker certainly did its job. To date, the device has helped police recover over 17,000 stolen vehicles, worth £395 million. The Road Crime Unit is specially trained in stopping cars at speed. On the M5, Chris Davidson and Taff Jones have just got news about a car that could be carrying drugs. A traffic unit has spotted the car, but Chris and Taff are several miles in front, so they pull into some services and lie in wait.
3-1, vehicle is committed at junction 31 on A38 speed. It is 80 miles an hour, lane 1.
The vehicle's just been spotted by traffic officers just coming past Exeter. Coming down this way, we're ahead of the game now. We'll just wait for it to come on to us, and then we'll try to get authority now for a 3-car stop.
The report suggests the car could be carrying a large amount of drugs. To stop it, the unit will use 3 cars to box it in. Sounds simple, but they'll be doing it at 70 miles an hour.
You said you didn't
park the cycle just there, mate. Yeah, he was in front.
The garage is in sight now.
So the team isn't spotted. Taff and Chris go out in front in their unmarked car. The suspect is now approaching fast.
The Oscar 4-5, we're now currently holding the central part of the road. I think you're behind us. Got it all clear in front of us.
Along with the other traffic unit, colleague Mark Moore has got himself several cars behind the target. Everyone is in position and ready to strike. The suspect has no idea what's coming.
Right, here we go, mate. Ready?
Yeah, okay.
The car is boxed in and brought to a sudden stop. The police call this a preventative strike. The suspect was slowed from 70 to a halt on a dual carriageway and all in pitch black. The unit race in to stop any drugs being dumped or swallowed.
Stop! Put your hands up on the wheel! Hands up on the dashboard! Right, mate, you're being detained for the purposes of a drug search.
Handcuffing the driver, Chris smells something he shouldn't.
Okay. What's going on? Have you been drinking?
I had a can when I left Birmingham early on.
What about your passenger? Has he been drinking?
He's been drinking, yeah.
Has he?
Cans on the way. What's going on?
Right, as I said to you, mate, you've been detained for the purpose of a drug search. Intelligence indicates you may be in possession of controlled substances. That's why you're being detained, all right?
Yeah, no problem.
You're going to be taken to Torquay.
The stop has gone to plan, and the men are cuffed easily.
As you can see, we just stopped the vehicle. We got the 2 persons within the vehicle detained in quite a short space of time. They'll be going down to the nearest police station now to undergo a drug search along with the vehicle. Never know, we might strike lucky.
And luck is on Taff's side, as the passenger admits to having some drugs.
I've got some draw on me.
Right, how much?
Less than
Right.
No, we'll sort that back.
But even with the confession, there are doubts that these men are the real suspects, as the driver tells Chris he's only just bought the car.
He says he's had the car all week, so the intelligence we had may not be as we first thought, but we don't know that until we've taken them back and had a chat with them. Okay, mate?
But first, Taff is keen to find the drugs that the passenger owned up to.
It's escaped me. It's in that pocket, is it?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
I bloody didn't. perhaps it's in a different one now. I was speaking to the gent. I asked him if he had anything on him that he shouldn't have, and he volunteered to me that he had a bit of cannabis in his pocket. Nice piece of cannabis resin. Just a chunk of cannabis resin. Class B drug.
It is now. So, happy days.
Yeah, we'll crack on with the search. Okay. Walk that way.
Back at Heathertree Nick, and it's time for Chris and Taff to carry out a strip search.
Been searched, yeah. Right, walk this way.
No evidence of drug dealing was found on the two men or in the vehicle, and further checks confirm the driver's story. He's just bought the car and is innocent.
So they only bought the car last month. It's been confirmed on his insurance. However, we still search the vehicle just to ascertain that they are the new owners.
Chris is disappointed that they didn't get their original suspects, but drugs were still found.
We've seized that, and they're going to be shortly on their way. So the car's been fully searched, and there's nothing on it.
Morris Sharp was given a cannabis warning for possession. The driver wasn't drunk or breathalyzed, and both men were free to go. The hard shoulder of a motorway is a dangerous place to be, but that means nothing to the driver of this Vauxhall Corsa. He's on a very busy part of the M62, just outside of Manchester. After having an argument with his girlfriend, he suddenly decides to let off some steam. He tells her and her mates to get out of the car, and then handbrakes the Corsa onto the motorway facing oncoming traffic. He then drives down the middle lane before spinning it around again, causing drivers to slam on their brakes. Incredibly, he rounds off this dangerous stunt by handbraking the Corsa back onto the hard shoulder. The driver's rage didn't stop here. He later attacked a police officer who tried to arrest him. At Manchester Crown Court, the judge described his driving as lunatic. This outrageous display got the man banned from driving for 2 years. He was also ordered to pay £1,800 in compensation to the officer and court costs. Still to come on Road Wars. An ambulance in trouble.
Get it seen to, because if I see it next time I'm going to be annoyed and I'll take the whole fleet off.
A truck in trouble. And a tank full of trouble.
It's a funny colour. It's not the normal colour of diesel, so I don't know what it's got in that exactly.
Coming up on Road Wars, a point-blank shootout, an ambulance seizure.
So we've got a vehicle now, it's not registered to you. My general gut feeling is there's no insurance on this vehicle.
And a runaway trucker. All the road crime unit's top-spec BMWs are kitted out with number plate reading cameras that are linked to a series of official databases. Known as automatic number plate recognition, or ANPR, the cameras alert the team to any irregularities. Chris and Mike Brown are monitoring traffic above the M5, when surprisingly, an emergency vehicle activates their camera.
Southbound on the M5. Yeehaw!
Got a vehicle up here, it appears to be a private paramedic vehicle, however it's activated our ANPR showing no insurance. We just run it through the P&C, confirms it's still got no insurance linked to it. However, the MOT is also out of date. Quite unusual, but we're going to have a look to see what it's all about. Let's seize one of these, going to be rather embarrassing, isn't it?
This vehicle is a private ambulance. There are hundreds on our roads. But this one is coming up on the system as having no insurance and an out-of-date MOT.
Hello there. You all right? Who do you work for? Right. OK. Your vehicle's activated our ANPR system on board the vehicle as having no insurance. Secondly, the vehicle's got no MOT. The MOT expired back in July. Who's responsible for your fleet, or are you private? You are?
Yeah.
Right. Come to the back of my car a minute, we'll just run through a couple of things.
The driver is a medical technician and says he's in charge of the ambulance fleet. If he isn't fully covered, he's going to have his own little emergency.
Right. Now, what's the score with regards to insurance on this vehicle?
Well,
I believe that it was on one of our fleet cars.
So what about the MOT?
I'm not sure when that is, to be honest.
Part of your responsibilities then is obviously checking that vehicles are insured correctly and also that the vehicles are currently MOT and taxed.
Yeah.
He isn't on top of his vehicle's legality. To make matters worse, the ambulance is still registered to the old owner.
Have you got the logbook?
Yes.
Have you sent it off?
No, I don't think so.
Right.
But I can't answer that because I don't really know. I don't think I have. I think it's
Right.
still in the office.
So we've got a vehicle now, it's not registered to you, I know that for a fact, it's still registered in the previous owner. We've got no vehicle on the MOT, so my general gut feeling is there's no insurance on this vehicle as well.
The prognosis is not good for this private medic. Chris and Mike need to find out if the ambulance is insured, but with his level of motor care alarmingly low, Mike isn't keeping his hopes up.
The gentleman who's driving's a little bit vague about the paperwork and all that. With that sort of taken into consideration, I think we're probably going to assume that he probably hasn't got insurance. It's not the sort of vehicle that you'd think of stopping, really, is it? An ambulance with a blue light on the top, as having no insurance, and then quite good cover, really, isn't it? You know.
Private ambulances, such as this one, will provide first aid at functions and don't attend 999 calls. The careless driver is sending out some serious signals, and Chris has no choice but to seize his ambulance.
Because you've got no MOT, the vehicle's not registered to you, I'm going to report you for driving a motor vehicle on the road with no insurance and also having no MOT. The downside is I'm seizing your vehicle. All right, so we're going to seize that. How many people have you got in the car?
3 of us.
The driver and his team are taken to nearby services to deal with the paperwork, and Chris feels his actions for seizing the vehicle are justified.
He's got a rather blasé attitude, to be honest, for someone who's responsible for, well, paramedic, but certainly someone who gives first aid, etc. I'd expect him to have the vehicle in tip-top condition. So it's the first time I've ever seen anything with a blue light on it.
This medic holds a position of high responsibility.
At the end of the day, you're still in line.
He looks after people's health, but he can't look after his own vehicle. Chris reminds him of his responsibilities.
Right, you've let down those 3 lads there, yeah, who've now got to make their own way home. I expect you to have everything in tip-top condition, all right? Get it seen to, because if I see it next time, I'm going to be annoyed and I'll take the whole fleet off.
It'll be done.
All right, good man. Take care. Cheers. At the end of the day, he's doing a job where he's saving lives, etc. And I respect him for that, but I also expect him to be within the law and make sure that everything's in order. And it's quite clearly it hasn't been. So, unfortunately, him and the other lads now have got a long walk home. And I think they're going to get his boss to buy McDonald's now. So it's going to be a very expensive night for him.
And the costs just kept mounting up. Richard Millen had to pay £390 to get his impounded ambulance back. At court, the MOT offence was dropped for the more serious issue of no insurance. Millen was fined £200 and handed 6 points on his licence. Pulling over an ambulance is easy enough, but trying to stop a runaway dumper truck is no easy feat.
We've got the tires out and he's still at 75 miles an hour trying to run all over the road. We've got the traffic cleared out there.
Police in America spotted the truck driving recklessly, and when they tried to stop it, the driver sped off. Weighing over 30 tonnes, the truck demolishes a sign with ease. Nothing is going to get in the driver's way. Drastic measures are needed. Further down the road, an officer with a shotgun is waiting. Amazingly, he opens fire on the truck's tyres. One of the rounds of hot lead has burst one of the middle tyres, which flies off just in front of this pursuing police car. Other officers have also managed to take out the front left tyre. With 2 wheels down to the rims, the huge truck is much harder to control. But that doesn't put off the cops. They are intent on slowing this juggernaut down and are reeling off the shots. Out Out of options, the officer in the cop car in front risks his life by trying to block and slow the dumper truck down. The truck is literally falling to pieces. And as this cop gets close, something flies up from under one of the rims and smashes his windscreen. The cops have managed to shoot the engine and smoke is pouring out of the dump truck. It's on its last legs. The driver has got out with his hands in the air and is finally coming peacefully. But one officer has other ideas. Looking like he's about to take the last kick of the Super Bowl final, he runs up and kicks the driver square in the head. It's an extreme reaction. The officer was indicted by a federal grand jury for violating the suspect's civil rights. He later resigned from his job. Back in Devon and the Road Crime Unit have dealt with their fair share of weird situations. Routine stops can be anything but. Giles Bedson and Roger Hocking are halfway through their shift when they spot a driver not wearing his seatbelt. But there's more to this than meets the eye.
Hi mate, just come and join us in the car. The reason we stopped you didn't have your belt on. Say again, mate?
Sorry, I just corrected the industrial estate.
Yeah, okay. You got your licence on you, please? Is it in
No.
there? No.
As Giles gets details from the driver, Roger decides to test if the car is running on red diesel. Half the price of normal fuel, red diesel is meant for farming or construction vehicles and is illegal to use on public roads. Normal diesel is clear. Red diesel is dyed to help detection.
Just dipping his tank for diesel. It's a diesel car, and just check he hasn't got red agricultural diesel in it. Just stuff aside there.
But this is neither red nor clear.
It's a funny colour. It's not the normal colour of diesel, so I don't know what he's got in that exactly.
This driver has got some murky black liquid in his tank, and being an experienced traffic officer, Giles is keen to work out what it is. Giles has certainly seen some strange things at the roadside.
I don't know what on earth that is.
Yeah, sometimes some of the older vehicles, the injectors can...
But this has got him stumped.
Yeah, I'm not happy with that. I'll just see if there's anyone in at customs.
Revenue and Customs will allow anyone to produce and use up to 2,500 litres of biofuel a year, tax-free. But it is illegal to run your car on any other fuel substitute without paying duty on it.
What sort of fuel are you running on, Mark?
That's engine oil.
Is it?
Yeah.
Why's that in the fuel then?
Well, because I just change oil in the engine.
Right, so how did it get in the fuel?
I put it in there.
What for?
I just burn it rather than throw it in. Rather than go to recycling centre.
Bit of a strange thing. It's never had red fuel in it at all?
No, not to my knowledge.
So you say you did what? You once you take the oil out...
I just put it in the back, just put it in there. And any of my mates...
This driver says he takes oil out of his engine and mixes it with diesel, then puts it back in his tank. It's a first for Giles. So he gets on the phone to Customs to see if it's legit.
Basically, says he's added oil to his diesel. Now, I've tried to say to him, why have you done that? He says, oh, it's just something I always do. So obviously, I can't tell what's in the tank at all. He's saying he's put oil in with it, but it's coming out jet black.
Giles discovers the addition of oil is often used to disguise the illegal use of other fuels.
He says it's quite common for people to put oil in to mix with kerosene, so domestic, like you say, heating oil, which is the same thing. Yeah, which obviously you'd have to pay duty on.
Yeah, he said he's done it, so he's done an oil change on the car, so he burns it through.
Yeah, I know what he said, but...
I don't mean anything to me.
Well, I've never heard of anyone else doing it.
No, neither. Not being a mechanic.
They're going to phone me back.
Whilst Giles waits for Customs to call back, he makes his suspicions very clear to the driver.
It's a big problem for, revenue customs, people using kerosene or red diesel in their vehicle because they're not paying the duty. Obviously, putting oil in it can disguise those two things as well to our naked eye, but The driver
is claiming he's doing nothing wrong, but the decision of whether to seize his car lies with Revenue and Customs.
Yep, OK, that's fine by us. It will be at Lamb Hill.
And it's not good news.
Okay, unfortunately they've authorised us to seize the vehicle under the Customs and Excise Road Fuels Act. Alright, basically they've got a power to stop and check the vehicle. What they want to make sure is that you're not doing anything underhand with either kerosene or red diesel.
How do I get in there?
Well, obviously you make sure you get safely back to Clumpton, but it's down to you from there, unfortunately.
You're not going to Exeter, are you?
No, we're not, unfortunately.
No luck with his car, no luck with his journey home. It's all doom and gloom. But Roger has some words of wisdom.
There's a regular bus going through Clumpton out towards Exeter.
Just as far as the gent's concerned, he's not adamant what he's got in there. Sort of makes me think, well, what is really in there? Because he's saying he doesn't know, which, you know, if you could imagine a situation where you've got your vehicle, you know exactly what fuel and what you put into it. He's saying that, you know, friends give him used engine oil and he puts it in his car. Well, I've not heard of that myself before, but we'll try and get a result when it comes back, just for our own interest, to see exactly what was in his fuel tank.
And despite his claims he was within the law, tests showed that Mark Capron was lying. He had a mixture of red diesel, kerosene and engine oil in his tank. As well as getting a warning for not wearing his seatbelt, he had to pay a 3-figure fine to Customs before his car was returned. It's a quiet day somewhere in the States. When outside a grocery store, an argument starts. Without warning, it's more than words that are flying. The man in white pulls out a gun and lets loose a volley of no less than 9 shots. Fleeing for his life, his original victim is then knocked down. With no mercy, the driver of the red car runs the man over, who staggeringly gets up and runs off again. It ends almost as abruptly as it starts. Like a Western movie, everyone saddles up and rides off into the sunset. All that was left for police were these shocking CCTV images. Still to come on Road Wars, a car park calamity. The road crime unit work in pairs, often spending hours at the wheel, which in turn means they forge close working relationships. Taff and Mark have been crewed together for over a year. Today, they're in plain clothes in one of the unit's powerful unmarked Ford Focus STs when they get a report of an uninsured car on the M5.
And one of the other cars has just alerted us to the fact there's a blue motor vehicle just come down here with no insurances. No insurances?
Assurances?
Assurances. It's got no insurance. So we're going to see if we can catch it.
The Department for Transport estimates uninsured drivers like this add around £30 onto all our premiums.
There he is in Lake Tucson.
That's not a Saab, is it?
Yeah, definitely.
They pull up behind the Saab.
It was a Saab, yeah. That one.
So that'll be that one then.
Taff puts on the blue lights and Mark makes the signal. But another motorist thinks he's the one in trouble.
Not you bloody half-wit.
So far, it's not going quite to plan. Mark sticks the siren on. Taff, the detective, puts the blues on again. But the Saab is still not pulling over. Mark eventually spots the problem.
Do that front blues on, are they? That's the front blues, isn't it?
It seems Taff was only putting on the rear blue lights.
That's probably why he didn't stop then.
That's why all the cars behind us have stopped. Right, press the front blue lights. That's it.
See if that works.
Taff Taff tries to explain to experienced traffic officer Mark.
Not from a traffic background, though, so I wouldn't know to put the blue lights on. I just thought I'd put the real ones on.
The rear reds on now. I don't think you ever will be from a traffic background.
Well,
They've finally got the Saab stopped. It's back to some good old policing.
Aha! Hello, mate.
Hiya.
Is this your car?
No, it's my partner's car.
Partner's car. The reason we stopped, he was showing up in our system as having no insurance.
The driver says he has his own fully comp insurance policy that allows him to drive other vehicles.
So has this car in itself got insurance?
I believe so, yeah.
Right. Right. According to our system, it hasn't, which is 99% accurate.
It's a common mistake by fully comp drivers to assume they can drive any car.
I've spoken to the driver. He said the vehicle belongs to his missus. He believes there is a certificate of insurance in force for him to drive it. As far as the law stands, I believe that the vehicle has to have insurance in its own right for somebody to drive it on their own policy as a third party. So I believe my colleague will be breaking that bad news to him shortly.
And moments later, in the back of the pair's car, it's down to Mark to do just that.
No, this was...
I'm not doubting your integrity at all. It's just
If that isn't insured, it's a genuine mistake.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Obviously, genuine mistake aside, it still needs to be dealt with one way or another.
As Mark gets on the phone to the insurance company, Taff tells the driver that the devil is in the detail.
If it's got no insurance, then you can't drive it on your policy. It's covered in the small print, and it does catch a lot of people.
And it's caught this driver, hook, line and sinker, as Mark gets to the bottom of it.
He's got the extension to drive other vehicles not belong to him, but the other vehicle has to have insurance, yes.
Right, so that's for both of them, was it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Mark's given him the option of taking out insurance on the roadside now. But he will still end up with a ticket, £200 ticket, 6 points on his licence. But he won't get his car towed away. Thoroughly bloody nice chap.
Nice chap or not, this driver is still getting a ticket. It's an expensive reminder.
Send off your remittance on that slip there, which will tear off, which is £200 to the address.
£200?
To there, yeah. All right.
For a fixed penalty, it's £200 then?
This one, for the insurance, it is, and 6 points, yeah.
Sat in the back of their car, the driver appears to have made a genuine mistake. But rules are rules.
I'll go now?
Yeah, sorry for that today. When you move away from here, Brian, if you just build your speed up on the hard shoulder.
All right, today's Taff's top tasty traffic tip is firstly to check your insurance to ensure that you are enabled to drive other people's cars on your policy. Just because you are fully comp doesn't automatically allow that. You commit the offence of driving with no insurance, and then you get nasty traffic man giving you a ticket. 6 points, £200.
Do I look nasty? Yeah.
But this motorist should be getting more than just a fine. He deserves a decoration for dimness. In a rush to get home, the driver wants to get out of the car park quickly, but he thinks he's some sort of superhero. He decides that if he puts the car into gear, he can run to the switch, open the garage door, and get back in the car in time. No chance. He runs himself over. The only title he's earned himself is Captain Calamity.
More turbocharged action with Nick Cage, a legendary car thief out to steal 50 classic rides in one night. Gone in 60 seconds. Tomorrow at 8 on Sky Movies Screen 1 HD. A new Road Wars is back on Sky 1 next Monday at 10. Next tonight, catch up with all the latest Stargate Universe.